So the battery for this pool cleaner broke, this particular brand here. And today I'm going to show you how to take apart the cleaner. And I've already assembled and soldered the new battery pack that I'm going to use. And yeah, so let's get to it. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to remove the wheels with these two screws here. I've already done it on this side, and this is how it's going to look. So, okay, let's do that first. All right, so the wheels just come out, so you just have to pull them. It's a little hard to do with one hand, but just pull it and put this to the side. I'm keeping everything here on the floor because it's kind of wet. I just literally just took it out. And then put all the screws inside of a single box. I'm keeping mine here. Now, one thing to notice is that all the screws are like this, pretty much all of them except for the ones at the bottom of the cleaner. So there's no confusion. All right, after doing that, you're gonna flip the cleaner upside down and we're gonna remove this top casing here that it has. And the way that you do that, there's a total of 6 screws. There's 2 here in the front, and then there's 2 here on the side, on these 2 sides. And then there's 2 more under this roller here. So they're in there, they're in there. And as long as you get a screwdriver in there, they're easy to take out. The other one is somewhere in here. So they're like in this particular area. All right, let's do it right now. All right, now that I've removed those 6 screws on the side, you can take out these 4 on the bottom. These are the only ones that are different from this guy right here, right? And this is how they look. Now, I do use a drill, right? Take them all out. And let me just show you how they look. See the difference? They're not self-tapping on like the other ones. These are actually, there's actually a nut in there that has threads. So they look like this. These are the only 4 that they make like that. All right. Now, once you have that done, you can just lift this up. It should just come off just like that, right? And just put it to the side. Remember, you still have this attached here, which is what turns it on and off, and it gives you the feedback with the lights. So let's remove these screws here so that we can put this here, and then we can put this top piece to the side. All right, now that we have this removed, you can just place it up here, put this piece over to this side. You don't need to remove anything else. And now, this is just to give you a closer look at this in case this was broken. This is epoxied in, so you will not have access to the electronics in there. And even though this part here broke off, this section here is still epoxied in, and everything that you see there is just the residue of the epoxy probably contacting some type of flux or some type of solder flux, right? So this is how that looks. All right. Let's continue going to the bottom. Now, I did mention that the bottom 4 screws were the only of that type. That's not true. These with the nuts on them also are of that type. So just keep that in mind. So what I like to do is when I remove these, I immediately place the nut with it so that you don't confuse it. And there's about 6 of these. Okay, so now what keeps this unit in place, aside from the 4 nuts at the bottom, is these locks here basically lock your gearbox in, and this is the gearbox itself. So these nuts, it's not a nut, it's like a plastic slider on one side and the other. And you also have 4 screws back here, which keep it to this main housing. So what I'm gonna first remove these 4 screws, and then with just like a flathead, you can just lift this up. All right, and just to show you guys how easy it is, you get a flathead, you place it down here, and what I like to do is I like to place it on the side and kind of lift it up, do this motion on the bottom, and then it basically just comes off just like that. And now that allows for this whole gearbox to come out. You do the same thing on this side, which I kind of already did. And don't worry, they are labeled. So this side is, I don't know if you can see it, this side is B, and this is labeled B at the bottom there. And this side is labeled A, which is on the other side. All right, let's take this guy out. All right, so this thing just literally comes right out of this. So we're not gonna use this for now. So I'm just gonna put it to the side with everything else here, and then we'll dry it off later. And now we're on to your gearbox, which is literally the whole entire cleaner. This is what the cleaner is, right? Your pool cleaner. So now the next thing we're gonna do is we are going to remove all of these screws all around it, and then this is basically just gonna open up and we can go from there. All right, so this is worth mentioning. Notice how I've opened holes there on this foam. You do not need to remove this foam completely. Just get like a fine tip screwdriver and drive it all the way down to the bottom here and just unscrew these, because these line up. So you still want to keep the foam, right? Functionality, but you don't want to completely remove it, because if you remove it, then there's no way to put it back unless you have one or you have the glue, right? So you don't destroy the foam completely. Just put a screwdriver all the way to the bottom and just remove it. And remember to always keep these together, these two. And just to kind of show you what that looks like, is this is how it looks. And then you literally just unscrew it, right? That's a wrong example because I have to hold the bottom, but you just unscrew it and you just take it up. All right, so this is actually how the little screws look. For some reason, I thought they were the self-tapping, but they're smaller. They're a smaller version of the bottom ones. But either way, since they're so small like this, and just to not, if you're gonna work on it and then just leave it to the side, just separate them so that you remember that, like, hey, all these small ones go on this type of unit. All right, so when you separate this, you open it, just jiggle it, and it comes open, right? There's no need to worry about glue or anything like that. This thing has a rubber seal here that once you close it back up, no water will go in here. These are the electronics. This is your blower, and these are the motors that move it around, right? Now I tried to do something with like these other batteries that I had, and it didn't work because they weren't the same amperage. I guess this thing consumes a lot of power. And also this doesn't have the battery protection that the other, that their battery pack came with. So I added the battery protection to this pack, and so yeah, so I'm just gonna replace it now. So to take out the battery, you just need to remove these two here. And I'm actually gonna bring out the board, the control board outside. And the way that you do that is it's being held down by these two screws on the side. So I'm just gonna do that. Take these plastic things out, and then the battery should just come out. All right, so I removed the side screws there. This is how the board looks. And since this is an engineering channel, so this is where the power comes in. So that's you can see the power connector back there. And this is the battery connector, which we're just going to remove. Now, this battery is good. It's just, it's not the same power rating. I think I'm gonna need 2 hands for this. Hold on. All right, there you go. I got it out. So you might be asking yourself, hey, how do you know that it was a battery pack? How do you know that it wasn't anything here? Well, first of all, I did a check of just a visual check of all the parts, and everything seems to be working correctly, right? So it still does turn on. If I were to plug in power here, it turns on, right? But it doesn't turn on continuously, right? Because I guess the circuitry here doesn't allow it to be to continuously turn on with just the power here connected, right? So it needs the battery, right? So what I did is I removed this battery and I got a power supply like this one. So I have a tiny power supply. And since I know that this thing is expecting 22 volts here, all I did was just replace this for 22 volts here. So I just applied with a power supply at 22 volts, and it turned on immediately, right? So then I knew that, hey, this battery is bad. On top of that, when you measure the bad battery here, you get no voltage whatsoever across this leads, and you're supposed to get around 22 volts. So that's how you check it. All right, so now that I have this, I added the wire back, and now we can just place it back in here and start closing it back up. Okay, one small detail here, when putting the wires back, be sure to put it in here and that they go inside of this little slot. So when you sit the battery, the cables, make sure that they go like that, and then this sits right on top of the battery, and it shouldn't get caught in this little motor. So just to talk about the electronics that they use, is all of these three motors are called brushless motors, and believe it or not, this is the part that spins, and they are driven magnetically by this PCB here. And technically all motors are driven magnetically, but this one in particular doesn't use brushes, hence the name brushless motor, right? Which what it does is it alternates the magnetic field, creating a propulsion there against permanent magnets that are aligned around this casing here. And what's cool about this is that you can have a sensored and sensorless type of motor. This one seems to be sensored, given by all the wires. So yeah, so you see this one of these wires here, it's a tack, which lets you know the position of the motor itself, and that way you know where to place that magnetic field. All right, let me close this up. All right, so it's all buttoned up. The module is completely sealed now. A good way of testing, which is I would highly recommend that you do, is to turn it on and see if everything just turns on, okay? So right now it says that it's fully charged, and this is one of the settings. You know, all of the settings come on, everything, right? And now if you want to test it, I believe that they use this port here as one of the, like a sensor to see if it's in the water. So if you wet this port here, it'll start running. I haven't tested that yet by just leaving it. So every time I test it is I put something across here. I don't think it's a timer that they use. I'm just gonna leave it on for a while and see if it is a timer, and then I'll let you guys know. But I'm pretty sure that oh no, it is a timer. Okay, so there you go, it's a timer. So this thing started turning on. Okay, let's see what happens after that. All right. Okay, so it was a timer. I am going to place this back now. I just put it in here. I haven't added the screws yet, so I'm just gonna close it completely up. It's basically watching the video in reverse, and then I'm gonna turn it on and show you guys how it runs in the water. All right, so I just put these four here. Don't forget to put this, very important. If not, this module could fall off. Actually, it won't if you put the screws on the bottom, but still, just put it. Next, I'd like to add the four at the bottom. Remember, there's this special type, and the other ones are the self-tapping. That's for everywhere else. But for this module, for this particular section, it's these long ones. Okay, up next comes the wheels. Now the trick with the wheels is you're gonna get this big gear here, and you're gonna first place this one, right? Make sure that it slides all the way in like that and it's flush, right? And then you're gonna put the belt. Now the belt, notice how the gear could go the other way, but it won't go in, right? So actually it can't go the other way. But the belt, you can place it backwards and it will go in. But notice how it has like this guiding longer tooth there. That goes inside of here. All right, so you place it. I can do this with one hand. You place it there, and then kind of place it here. And now you're gonna place, remember, keeping this in there, right? You're gonna place it, and then with two hands, it's gonna have some resistance. So you're gonna have to guide this into this pull here. And there you go. It's gonna feel tight, but you know what they say, right? Tight is good. So there you go. And now just don't forget to lock it in with this, and you can call it a day for this side. All right, so it's solid green, which means it's fully charged. So we can just remove it from here and let's go throw it in the water. All right, so I just installed a little tray that goes here. I'm gonna close this. If you guys don't have a pool robot, I highly recommend it. Now on this one, the setting, I'm gonna set it to only do the floor, because I don't know if you can see it there, but you see that sand there? It'll pick all of that up. So you just grab it and just place it here in the water. And then hopefully it'll just, I'm gonna fast forward this thing. But there it is, it goes down. All right. It looks like it turned on. Did it turn on? Oh no, we're getting all this air. All right, so there you go. Alrighty, and it's working. Awesome. So if you enjoy the video or learned something, be sure to subscribe. This is not a pool channel, this is an engineering channel. So if you guys have any questions, also just be sure to leave it in the comment and I'll try to address them. Alrighty, see you in the next one. Peace.